Namaskar and welcome to Mood India. My name is Samir Sugwekar, and in the next 30 minutes we're going to get an introduction to a fascinating Indian classical musical instrument called a tabla. Indian music has been one of the oldest musical traditions in the world. It has its roots in the Vedic chants of the first few millennia BC. Although the mechanics of the music have undergone tremendous changes in the last few thousand years, the essential characteristics of awe, respect, and devotion have remained unchanged. Indian music has fascinated the West for many years. The tabla in particular has attained the attraction of numerous American and European percussionists. It has been used in popular music as early as the 60s, and it is heard in popular music even today. We use the expression Indian music rather loosely. In reality, this consists of numerous different styles. There are two systems of classical music, one in the northern India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, and the other found in southern India and Sri Lanka. The tabla is traditionally used in accompaniment for Indian classical music. It is also used as a solo instrument in its own right. For the tabla player, a solo performance is a unique opportunity to showcase the mastery over the many facets of the rhythm, including different rhythm cycles, which are called tal, tempo and structure, called laya, and improvisational dexterity and knowledge of traditional fixed compositions. Having said that, I'd like to introduce you to the artist who will be giving us a glimpse of what the tabla is all about. First, we have Abhinay Padhye. Abhinay is an accomplished tabla artist. He has accompanied many noted artists and also given solo performances. Abhinay started learning the tabla from Sri Nana Mule and then from Pandit Bhai Gaitonde in Mumbai. He is currently studying tabla under the Maestro Pandit Shwapan Chaudhary at the Ali Akbar College of Music in San Rafael, California. He's also been teaching the tabla to numerous aspiring students in the Bay Area for the last 6 years. For his day job, he is a computer network engineer by profession. Welcome.
Thanks.
Next, we have Vivek Datter. Vivek learned harmonium from the late Pandit Vinayak Rao Kale for 8 years. His interest is in theory and practice of tuning theory. His day job is also a network engineer. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
So this is really fascinating. I really love the way you started the program with the tabla. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history and origins of this beautiful musical instrument?
The history of tabla is actually it's not known to the fact. There are many stories behind it, and some stories, like some books says that tabla actually originated by Siddhar Khan Dhari, Ustad Siddhar Khan Dhari, who was actually a pakwaz player. And those days there were a competition with another pakwaz player, Bhagwan Das, and in that competition actually Siddhar Khan Dhari lost, and in his anger he cut the pakwaz drum into a half. This is pakwaz, right?
That's really good.
And then he cut this into two parts.
All right.
And then he found later that still it made sound. Those two pieces, and he said to that particular instrument as a tab bhi bola, and later actually it became tabla.
Okay.
So that's one story. Then few people also believe that Ustad Amir Khusro, he actually originated tabla again with the same thing. He cut the pakhwaz into two pieces. So that another story, but it's a highly disputed story. And then the third contradict thing is like these tabla pictures are there in old temples in India, which again date to almost 2nd century back. So really actually the history, it's a mystery that we don't know really when tabla came, who invented it and how he invented it.
Okay. Actually, since the pakhwaz is here, can you show us a few steps on how it sounds different from that?
Oh yeah, sure. So let me play a few things.
That was beautiful. I can definitely see the similarities there.
Right.
You know, this is a very elaborate instrument here, and I see a lot of parts to it.
Right.
And then it comes out with different sounds. Can you give us a little bit more idea as to what it's that's all about?
Right. So we call it as a tabla, but basically it's two part. So the right side, of course, who is a right hand player, it's called like it's a tabla, and it's made of wood. Typically shisam wood or khair wood, I'm not sure what we call it in English for that name. And then this is a regular leather top of it, and then this black part in the center is made of coal, fine coal powder and iron powder and some rice paste. It's I mean, it's a very critical method to make and put that particular thing on the tabla. So this again the leather strips. This is called as a wadi.
Okay.
And on the baya side, earlier again in old days actually this was also made out of wood. Okay, but nowadays they have improved, and this is we found that it sounds better than the wooden thing. Okay, so this is made of either stainless steel or copper or sometimes bronze.
Right.
And then again all these things are same like the tabla. So the baya sounds far lower pitch.
Okay.
And then the tabla actually is the higher pitch.
Got it.
So both together made a few different sounds. Maybe let me tell you what kind of sounds and what we call to those particular syllables.
All right.
So on this rim on the corner, kinar, we call this particular part as a chant. Okay, and when you hit on the chant, so this particular sound is either na or ta. All right. Then the middle part here is called a sur or walai, and then it sounds like a sur. I mean, whatever the pitch you get from the tabla is actually from this particular place. So that is why they call it as a sur. Right. The same pitch we are matching with that.
I can hear that.
Right.
Yes.
And then in the center it's a gaba or shai, where you play typically tirakita or theta kind of thing. So tirakita or theta, something like that. So all these different phrases then becomes different notes. I mean, become some phrases and then some bowls.
Wow.
And on the left side again you have all bass sound. This type of, this is called K, and then this is closed sound. This is called K.
Right. That's pretty impressive. And what are these wooden pegs that are set on the side of the tabla?
So this is just to make sure that it is equally tense on its side. I mean, to control the tension. So we tune the tabla from with the help of these strips with the gut.
Got it. So, you know, I have actually seen a few tabla performances, and I've seen different types of tablas out there.
Right.
And it's really interesting how they're different, and maybe you can give us some insight on that.
Oh yeah, so basically I have another one tabla with a different pitch to show you what is exactly difference, right? So if you see, this is sound in this pitch. So what pitch is that? It's a
Kali patch.
Kali patch. And now if you see this will sound like different pitch.
I see that, I hear that, yeah.
Okay, so let him play one tune, and you can make the difference if I don't use the right pitch tabla, how it sounds.
All right.
Okay, so first he will Vivek, can you please
Do it in Kali patch?
just yes, in Kali patch. Okay, now let's do it same thing with the another pitch. And change. So you change it
Yeah.
again, which is mismatch.
I definitely hear that, yes. That was a very, really nice and enjoyable comparison between the two tablas. You know, when people talk of the tabla, they speak of rhythm.
Right.
And maybe you can give us a little idea of what the tabla rhythm is all about.
Right. So in Indian music, actually, there are two aspects. One is rag, and one is tal. So rag, you can say it's like a melodious aspect of the music, and then the tal is the rhythmic aspect of the music.
Okay.
So that's the difference between rag and tal. And then the tal, that particular word, is basically came from tali. So tali is nothing but clap. So you
Got it.
clap, and that's a tali. And I think that's the oldest form of rhythm people used to use on the those days to accompany the music.
Right.
So
That's
the tali and the wave, these were the two forms. We still use it in our rhythm.
Wow, that's really fascinating. So, when you speak of the Indian rhythm that you just spoke of, how will you compare that to the Western rhythm and the sounds that are coming from the West?
So I think there are many similarities in Western rhythm and the Indian tal. Like in Western rhythm, it's like all about beats, measures, and many cycles, right? It's the same thing with the Indian music. So most fundamental element of the tal is beat, or in the rhythm is the beat, which is nothing but matra. I mean, in Western style they call it as a beat, and we call it as a matra. Okay, so that matra can be just a one stroke, or it can be a couple of or few strokes, but it's it's a beat.
Okay.
Okay, then the next level of rhythm is Vibhag.
Okay.
The Vibhag is nothing but you can see is in the Western style we call it as a measures or bars.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
So that's a Vibhag. And then the last part is I mean the whole tal, the one whole cycle of the rhythm.
Okay.
Now there are some, as I said, some differences between this and Western music, and here is we have a concept of khali and bhari. Okay, so khali bhari means what? Actually, bhari is like all open bowls.
Okay.
Or khula bowls, we call it as a.
Okay.
And then khali is like all closed bowls, banda bowl.
All right.
Okay, so for example, say now this dha is a bhari note, as opposed to ta is a khali note.
I see.
Okay.
It's like Kali means full, or rather Kali means
Khali
empty.
means empty, correct.
And
And
then
bhari is like it's full of something.
And it does sound that way.
That sound, right?
Definitely.
The same thing is dhin, and then tin. Okay.
Got it.
Then dhira dhira, and then tira tira. So there are many notes in bhari and then as opposed to khali. And the whole rhythm or one tal basically is a composition of many bharis and khalis.
Got it.
And that also gives you a different perspective of a cycle, like in a day or in a year. If you compare that as a cycle, right, there is a day and a night. It's not the 24 hours day or 24 hours night.
Yes.
It's always some bhari part and khali part.
Okay.
And the same thing in a year, it's not like just the whole summer or whole winter.
Got
It's
it.
always, some part of it is a summer, then winter, and then you have different seasons.
That's right.
The same thing in one cycle of the rhythm.
Got it. So now you gave us some insight on that. Is this similar to the bowl, the concept of bowl?
Bowl is little bit different, so let me actually show you one tal.
Okay.
That way you will get what that exactly means.
All right.
For example, say a very common tal is tin tal. Okay, so the tin tal has 16 beats, 16 beats, and it has 4 vibhag, so 4 measures you can say. Okay, the bowl of tin tal is dha dhin dhin dha, dha dhin dhin dha, dha tin tin ta, ta dhin dhin dha, dha din din da, dha tin tin ta, ta dhin din da. These are the bowl of tin ta. Now in this 4 measure you have noticed that you must have noticed that whenever I am playing thali part, so that vibhag is a bhari,
Okay.
and whenever I am playing showing a wave, that part is khali.
Okay.
So this is how you it is noted. So dha dhin dhin dha. So this vibhag is all bhari. The next second vibhag again dha dhin dhin dha, again bhari. Dha tin tin ta. You will find more khali notes in that particular vibhag, and then ta dhin dhin dha. Again, most of the notes are bhari notes in that tal.
Got it.
If you take another example of jhap tal, it's like a 10 beats tal rhythm. The bowls are dhin na, dhin dhin na, tin na, dhin dhin na. So now these vibhags are not necessarily are equal vibhag. So in this 10 beat, now the vibhags are 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So 4 vibhags, but 2, 3, 2, 3.
Okay.
All right. So now let's go to the bowl. Whatever I'm saying, those are the bowls, like dhin na, dhin dhin na, tin na, dhin dhin na. Okay, so the syllable what I'm saying, it's basically called the bowl.
Okay.
And it helps in 2 ways. The one is to artists to remember all the complicated fixed compositions. It helps a lot to remember.
Yeah.
If you don't have that bowl concept, then it is really very hard to remember all bowls, because you don't know what exactly is you are playing.
Yeah.
But in tabla, in Indian music, everything is composed and it is written in the form of bowl.
Okay. Got it. I've also heard of a concept of gharanas.
Right.
Yeah. And how does that play into this mix here?
So gharana, you can actually basically it's like a schools or a different dialect in India, because those days there were not many good communication ways and transportation available. So all these different places they developed their own regional culture in the way of technique and different bowls and some different philosophy. So there are 6 well-known gharanas.
Okay.
It actually started from Delhi. So Delhi is the main gharana of all these 6. But then after Delhi, then there is Banaras, Farrukhabad, Lucknow, Ajrada, and then Punjab. These are the well-known 6 gharanas. and there are many minor differences between all these gharanas, but I would like to actually say here that there are two main differences. So one is Delhi style, okay, and then another is Purbi style. So Purab means eastern part of the India.
Got it.
The Delhi style, mainly they emphasize on the rim stroke,
Okay.
that is na, and then they use a lot of a middle finger, this for Tirakita and that type of thing. So this is the main difference. And then the Purbi Gharana, which basically followed by Banaras, mostly Banaras and Lucknow.
Okay.
Those people actually got a lot of impact on their gharanas from the Pakhawaj. Okay, so they use very khula type of bowls. Khula type of means like this type of bowl. So let me show you actually one difference.
All right.
The same bowl, if a Delhi style, how it sounds, and if I play the same bowl in Purbi style, how it will sound. Okay.
Let's see the difference. Yeah.
Okay, so the bowl is, I'm going to play, this is very a famous qaida in Delhi Gharana. The bowl are dhatit, dhatit, dha dhatit, dhage, tinna kena, tatit, tatit, dha dhatit, dhage, dhinna gena. Okay,
all right.
So let me play this. So this is first Delhi style. Now the same bowl, if I use a khula style, now you will find that it more sounds like a pakhawaj. Okay. So and then maybe one another bowl.
Okay.
One bowl in Tirakita style.
Right.
There also they use a lot of middle finger, but the other gharanas they use all three fingers. So how it sounds different.
All right.
Okay, so. So this is Delhi style, and now in other Purbi style.
All right.
Like this. So these are the main differences in the gharanas.
So this is really interesting. Now we've heard of the various concepts of the tabla. How does it all come together? Can you give us a sampler before I ask my next question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So do you have a sampler, or do you want to just give us a little bit more insight as to what that box is there? I hear the background music all the time, and
maybe it's perhaps goes into my domain.
Okay.
This little box here, which I'll hold it up. This is the electronic Tanpura. It's a great substitute for the real Tanpura that you might have seen on the stage.
So it's a basically drumming.
It's a drone instrument that keeps on giving us what's the tonic note or what's the bass note is all about. For example, the bass note here is this. It's tuned to that bass note, and it will consistently give us. Unlike the Western instrument, we do not change the tonic note. Our tonic note always remains same throughout the performance.
I see.
So as a result, once we tune this either on a real big Tanpura, which is always better than this one, or this one, it kind of stays there forever throughout the performance.
Okay.
So that's what this is doing to us.
All right. So that explains the background sound.
Yeah.
And is that only used in solo performances of the tabla, or do you use it in concerts when you have other musical instruments too?
Practically any Indian classical performance will have one or more of these.
Okay. So sounds good. I think I got the basics of the tabla, and it's really fascinating to hear the insights you have there. So can we get a prelude of how it all comes together, and then get a performance from that?
Sure.
Right. Well, all good things have to come to an end, and it looks like we've run out of time. On behalf of Mood India, I'd wish to thank Abhinay and Vivek for giving us a glimpse into their passion, knowledge of the tabla. We'll be featuring more of the tabla next week, or rather next program, and encourage you to join us then to hear this fascinating instrument. For more information about this programming, email us at the address shown on your screen. Next time, on behalf of Mood India, Namaskar.